innovative content, global audience.
The real estate industry is a highly lucrative industry, yet a difficult one. Difficult in the sense that it takes a lot of interpersonal and above-board connection for one to truly excel in it. Today on the Sofa, we have with us a seasoned, young and vibrant real estate guru who would be taking us on the journey so far and offering professional advice and definitely tips on how to get juicy and savvy deals in the property markets. Hello sir, welcome to On the Sofa.
Thank you for having me.
Can we meet you, sir?
My name is Emmanuel Sunday. I'm the CEO of Igbokwe Ventures Nigeria Limited. We are into real estate and properties. Thank you.
Why real estate and what generally interests you in properties?
Actually property is a good business and it's a good investment.
Okay.
Yes, it's a good investment in a way of a way you can save your money and something you just love. Something you just love. Let me put it that way. Something you just love.
Why do you think it's imperative for people to save their money in properties? As you rightly said, it's a means for people to save money. Why do you think it's imperative for people to save their money in properties?
Presently now, in our digital world now, shares doesn't work any longer. So you see people look for a way to put in, to invest their money. And the only way they can invest is get into real estate, get a property where you put in your millions and invest in the real estate, where you know that it will definitely appreciate. It doesn't depreciate.
Okay. So it's actually on record that the real estate market is estimated to worth over $7.3 billion, and it's also said that your industry has quite a number of unscrupulous individuals who are looking to prey off, and who have even preyed off unsuspected victims in their quest to maybe sell a land or a property and all that. How were you able to build trust in this your line of business?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. As you can see now, everybody is out there to get what he or she is desiring for. So, as a client, and you want to invest into the real estate, what you do is to get the authenticity of the property you want to get. Getting the organizations that are involved, the agencies that are involved in the real estate, and make sure you get to know the document, the authenticity of the document that will be issued to you, like the R of O and the C of O. So, and another thing again, we have an organization that you can always go to make your findings of what is really what is really on this. Is there any issue? Let me put it. Is there any issue on this property?
Okay.
Is there any issue on this property, or is anybody involved in this property illegally? So there are agencies that you can go and get your information from, like the Abuja Geographic Information System. You can the office is always open for you. You can go there and make your findings. What I want to know about this particular property, please, can I have information on this property? Is this property sold? Is it still available for people like us to access? They will give you such information. From there you can take it up and start getting in touch with the agencies involved, like the real estate surveyor. You can go there and make your inquiries, and to avoid you being scammed and to avoid you being duped or anything that has to do with fraudulent.
Okay, sir. You spoke about agencies in the whole marketing and landed property space. Is there a sort of certification that real estate agents should acquire to be in your line of business? And secondly, how can one tell a fake from an original agent?
Yes. Yeah, we have the real estate surveyor agency. We have the real estate valuers, estate and properties valuers that will value to know the value of the properties. We have our federal capital development authority.
Okay.
We have the Abuja geographical information system, where I told you earlier that you can always go to get your information on a particular property to know if the property is still on sale or not. So, and there's always a license issued to you.
As a real estate agent?
Yes.
Okay.
There's always a license issued to you from all these agencies.
Okay.
For people to come in to do business with you,
yeah,
you have to have all this license. So the moment you don't have all this license, then you are really not qualified to come into the real estate. So you must have all this license to make sure you know what you are doing,
okay,
and to make people gain your trust on doing business with you, and you trusting people that you're doing the business with. Because a client will always come to you to do business with you when he or she begin to gain your trust.
okay.
So that is the whole thing of you getting a license, so that all the agencies will be aware that this particular company is into real estate and they are licensed to sell properties to any client.
Okay. But there's still been reports of people going to real estate firms to maybe inquire about a landed property or a house or something like that, and at the end of the day they still got, will I say, duped? Even with all the certifications and the licenses, they still did not get what they wanted. So who are we to blame for this particular flaw? Are we supposed to blame the person who went to inquire about the land, or who are we to blame in this situation?
No, actually, let me say you can't blame either the client or the real estate organization. The whole thing is this: when you want to get a property, make sure you have a direct contact with the organization in question, and make sure you take supervision of what you are coming to the organization to buy. If it is a property, already built property, fine. If it is a landed property, good. Make sure you get all your... You can just go on your own to the Abuja Geographic Information System,
Yeah.
for them to make an inquiry, for them to verify this particular land. Is this particular land genuine?
Okay.
Before you can come into buying or negotiating for the land with the real estate. So it is advisable to make your inquiries going to the right channels, like getting information from the right source. Because at the end of the day, you will say, okay, this real estate, they duped me. Actually, it might not be from their end. It might be from your end, because there are some certain informations that you didn't get from the right source before coming in.
Okay.
So it is advisable you come in, you meet the right organization. If you feel the real estate won't be able to provide you the useful information you want, we have the Federal Capital Development Authority. We have the Abuja Geographic Information System, which they are always open for you to know the genuineness of this land or this property. So you coming in as a client to get a property from us, you are coming in to trust us that yes, you can do business with us. So the moment you come in, we will let you know these are the things, these are the steps you need to follow.
Okay.
Yes.
In your bio, you mentioned you're also a developer, and there's been a recent trend of people having to pay for a house to be developed or a property to be developed, and just maybe after a while of paying in a particular amount of money, and the whole project doesn't go as planned, they are either trying to get back their monies from these real estate agencies and all of that, or they go to courts back and forth just to be able to get their money, and their monies are not really being given back to them. And what's your reaction on that? Why do you feel there's this trend among in the whole real estate space? There's this sort of distrust when it comes to developers, when they tell you to pay a certain amount of money for a property to be developed. At the end of the day, it doesn't really get developed. What can you really say in that light?
Some of these clients, they have what we call taste.
Okay.
Yes, they have what we call taste. A client can come up with an idea that, give me this particular structure, develop this land for me with this particular structure. And we as a developers, we have our architect,
Okay.
we have our engineers, our teams of engineers that are professionals. So, and what we'll do is this: if we're developing a land for you that has to carry you like 10 to 20 structures on that land, it must be uniform.
Okay.
Yes, it must be uniform. Sometimes clients come to us and say, okay, give me this particular structure. Do you know that in real estate organization, where we do the real estate thing, we don't work with what the structure you are coming to give to us.
Okay.
We work with the structure that we ourselves, we have taken our time to work on it.
Okay.
We have a plan. We have a plan.
A plan given to you by
Yes,
authorities.
yes, we have a plan that in this particular land, these are the kind of structures we want you people to raise on this particular land. So at times client paid some kind of some amount of money and say, give me this particular, I need this particular property. And at the end of the day, they come and they discover that this is not I don't like this kind of structures on this particular property.
Sorry, in this context, what I mean is, and there's already a plan.
Yes.
You as a developer comes, you tell this particular client that these are the kind of buildings that would be here, and you're going to have to move into this place in the space of 3 years. To take 3 years for us to develop this place, and that person entrusts his or her money in your care as a developer, because this is what you said, 3 years, right? Okay, they give you money, and at the end of the day, if the whole thing goes south, is either they are trying to get back their monies from you, or maybe the building is taking longer than expected, or there's always a lot of back and forth, and I've heard a lot of stories, and all of them don't really end well. It's either maybe the company doesn't even refund, or at some point they start asking for more money. Like if they say 14.99 million, then all of a sudden they just wake up one morning and they're like, we want extra 5 million, stuff like that. So that's just what I want to know. What is really the problem?
Actually, we see sometimes we have this issue.
This is not about the taste.
Funding.
Okay.
We have the issue of funding, and in real estate, it is a business that you will need much fund. Okay, you giving me your 14.9 million to give you a good structure.
Yeah.
Do you know that you might not be the only one giving me such amount of money? And depends on the time that the agency in question have approved that, okay, we want this structure to be developed from this particular time to this particular time.
But shouldn't it be something that you as a developer should have known from the agency before telling these people that, okay, this is the time frame and all that? I think maybe that would help a bit.
Sometimes you the agency will give us a particular duration of time to start up and finish up.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They give us a particular year or particular date to start and to finish. Okay. And this structure, to get this structure to the finishing point, it is in stages. It is in stages. And in every stage, the agencies come in to approve every stage of the building. So, in a situation whereby the agency refuse or are yet to approve a particular stage of this building.
Okay.
So it will take
a much longer
time to meet up to the time given to the client.
Okay.
So from our end, what we'll do is this: we try our possible best to fasten whatsoever engagement we have with the agency, whatsoever stage of the building, whatsoever stage we get to.
Okay.
We invite the agencies on our own. We are on this particular stage now. Come and take your supervision. Come and check what we have done and how far we have done. Can we proceed to the next stage? And we have to get all our documentation on the ground and signed and approved by the agency before we proceed. So you see, all this procedure takes longer time than expected. So sometimes the client will feel, you guys have given me such so time, and now you people are unable to meet up to the time. Sometimes the fault really is not coming from the developer, but from the agency managing the building. So from this end, we plead with our client to give us some time to rectify whatsoever issues or whatsoever thing that needed to be rectified with the agency. Just like I said, every stage of this building, the agencies come in to supervise the kind of materials you used, what quantity of materials are you using to develop this structure at this particular stage, and to see the manpower using to build these structures. Are they okay for such manpower to be used to raise this structure, or you are using few people to raise a substandard structures? So you have to follow up this process, and this process doesn't take a day. So the moment they come in, they take your supervision, they evaluate how this is the stage that these developers, this is the stage they are now. Okay, let's go back to the office and get our report done. Let the appropriate personnel approve before coming back to us to tell us, okay, you can move to the next stage. So some clients sometimes impatient will make them to start reacting that I have given you such amount of money, I'm supposed to get my property by this particular time. So sometimes we plead with them and let them know that this thing is in stage. So give us some time to get it over with these agencies while we continue building.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emma. At this point, we're going to have a very short break, and when we come back, we still have more for you. Stay locked in.
Innovative content, global audience.
Hello and welcome back. If you're just joining, this is On the Sofa on SRTV London, and I've been joined in the studio by Emmanuel, and we've been having a long chat about the real estate company in Nigeria, the real estate industry in Nigeria, and what we should know and things to apply in our quest in getting a property. Moving on, Mr. Emmanuel, what are the most effective ways that a real estate agent can possibly sell or advertise his or her properties in Nigeria? What has really stood out for you? The channel of advertisement has really stood out for you more, because I mean we see a whole lot of billboards scattered all around the city of Abuja and all that. So what has really stood out for you in your brand?
Yeah, we have all our brands being published on website and social medias, mostly social medias, and our emails. We published our emails out there for people to send emails to us, and most of the advertisement we do, or most of the publishing we do, is mostly on social medias, on our WhatsApp page, our Facebook, and our Instagram handles, where we always advertise our properties. Where you can go there and check for yourself and see the kind of properties we are selling out to our client, and mostly we are on social medias. We are on social medias, and we have a website where you can go all the time to check and get information for yourself. And actually, and we are from our office again. Our office is still open from Monday till Saturdays.
So has social media been very effective?
It has been a very, very effective place for us to market our properties, because if 95% of Nigerians are on social medias, so what do you expect? We take it to the social medias, where everybody can see what we are into and what we do. So we are open on social medias and in every other medias. Just like these shows, coming here to talk and advertise, to tell you what we really do, is still part of it.
Your industry is highly competitive and I must say challenging. How do you stay motivated, like on days when your properties don't get to sell out as fast as they should? How do you stay motivated?
Of course, each and every day you wake up and you see your property, you get encouraged.
Oh.
Yes, you get encouraged, because definitely a client will definitely come. It doesn't depreciate.
Oh, that's true.
It appreciates at every given time. So anytime you wake up and you discover that I still have a property somewhere that worth millions, and you have it at the back of your mind that definitely a client will come someday to make demand of this property, it's encouraged.
Okay. What are your major challenges of being a realtor in Nigeria? What are your major challenges? What's that thing that's really stood out for you, that this is really a problem?
Sometimes most of the challenges when you are to develop the property for a client, and you end up funding it yourself.
Oh, does it happen like that?
Yes, you end up funding it yourself, and when you needed the client to give you the fund back, it becomes challenged.
Shouldn't there be a sort of contract in that regard?
Yes, but if you are taking it in the way of contract, sometimes a client will feel that I'm overfunding these people for this property to be developed.
Oh.
Yes, we have clients that will tell you that I've paid you a lot to raise these structures for me.
We really learn every day. I thought maybe the development was solely on the part of the client. I didn't know that the developer can also develop with his own money.
Yes.
And then have someone buy.
Yes.
Oh, that's
so
beautiful.
you see, sometimes the client will just come and say, I fund this project with a lot of money, not knowing that presently now you can see how the price of so many things have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So you don't expect a developer to still come back and tell you that the price of the materials we are using to raise this building for you is still
the same.
The same. So every day things go up. So as things goes up, we do our best to see how we bring in people that will help us to manage every aspect or every stage of the building. With us letting the client know that at this particular stage we are running out of funds because of the price of materials being used to build to do these structures for you. Sometimes we developers use our fund to raise these structures, expecting the client to remit, and they end up not remitting. That's where you see we do have this breach of trust. That's where this breach of trust comes. And at the end of the day, the client will be expecting the developer to make refund, of which it can't be possible, because a lot of funding from the developers has gone into it. But sometimes we developers, what we'll do is that we use our fund, we come into agreement, we sign an MOU with the client. We sign our memorandum of understanding with you. Give us this particular time. We will raise this structure for you with our fund. Then after raising this structure with our fund, you pay us this particular amount of fund. Then we come into agreement. Then we begin the whole project. So sometimes where we do find things difficult, it is when we are short paid by the client. When you are expecting a client to pay you some amount of money, and at the end of the day he paid just an initial deposit, and along the line maybe he will feel, I don't need this property again. Meanwhile, the developers, we have used our funds to raise it up, expecting the client to bring back the remaining funds.
So how do you feel this can be managed? How do you feel it can be managed?
That is why I say it. We come into agreement. Then you tell us, from this particular time to this particular time, we're going to pay this amount of money for this project to begin. Then the next phase of the project, you tell us, this is the amount I'm going to fund you people for the next phase of the project. So everything has to be signed and agreed before we kick off any project.
That would be less challenging, like having to sign an MOU.
Yes, that is where you have to do it this way, so that there won't be much risks from the end of the client and from the end of the developers.
Yes. Everything is better when it's legal.
Yes.
So what's your advice for people that would want to venture into your line of business? What's your advice? And how can one become a real estate agent?
Yeah, actually it's just like I always say, Rome is not built in a day. When I started gradually. I started from being an agent. From being an agent, I became a property agency on my own. That is, I go out, do advertisement, bring clients to a particular organization that have properties to sell. Yes, and I at times I be the one to bring the materials. I do the supply of the materials. Yes. So you could see how we started.
It's more like a grassroots story.
So we started. When I started supplying the materials for real estate developers. So we started partnering. From there, I became a CEO of my own, where I developed properties for people too.
That's beautiful.
So I encouraged them to just be patient and focused.
Okay.
Yes. Be patient and focus, and make sure you know what you are doing part time. If you are going out to make research, make sure you get the best research, so that you will be able to present a good information to your client to subscribe to what you are advertising to him or her. So we encouraged anyone that wants to come into the business to take a step, and the step is this: become an agent, advertise properties. You might not be the owner of the properties. Advertise properties for developers. At the end of the day, you get your percentage. So from there, you will start having knowledge on how to
the industry works.
Yes, how the industry works. From there, you start having knowledge of these are the kind of materials that are supposed to be used for so structures. So we just encourage every youth coming in to the business, just be focused, be patient, and make sure you have the right information to offer to a client to subscribe to you. And make sure before you do anything with a client, make sure you know the authenticity of
The
properties and the document required. Is it the RFO, the right of occupancy, or the certificate of occupancy? From which agency is this certificate coming from? Because we have a lot of people forging certificate nowadays. So what we do is that you get the right information. The moment you get the right information and the right channels to go, that is all. So we encourage every youth to come in and stay focused.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. It's been a nice time having you on the
Thank
studio
you very
today.
much.
As he has rightly said, information indeed is power. Knowledge is power. To avoid falling into the wrong hands and being scammed and duped of your hard-earned money in the quest to obtain a landed property, you have to know the right source, do your findings, and don't go for anybody, just any random agent. You have to do your findings, go to the right agencies and make your findings. And for those who would want to come into the whole industry of real estate, like he rightly said, Rome was not built in a day. Do well to get yourself inclined with all the right information that surrounds the real estate industry, and as you do, we really see you soaring. I still remain your humble host, Jessica Igbokwe.
Innovative content, global audience.